It's finally time. Time to get the giant mess of cables that seems to move around my office cleaned up, looking good, and making charging easy for all of my batteries. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and since I've recently been completely redoing my office, this charging wall is finally happening. Now, this is going to give a home to all of my batteries to charge, which will be convenient to use, and I'm going to show you everything I'm using to put this together. If you want links to anything I'm using, you'll find all of them in the description of the video down below. To start this, I'm using the IKEA SCADA's pegboard, as well as a heap of other accessories from the same product line. They're made to fit together, so that just kind of made sense. This is a really lightweight board because I'm actually renting a property. It's much easier to have a lighter board than one of the heavy metal ones that I know I've seen on a lot of other types of projects like these. So it's much easier to be able to use a light board, especially renting, and I'm going to attach a couple of wood beams here and here so that when this gets mounted on the wall, it can be easily removed and use some heavy duty Velcro strips, which should actually manage to take pretty much all of this. Now the first step is to plot out where I want everything to go before sticking anything down. Everything is going to get unboxed and I'm going to start getting it laid out to make sure that I've got all the chargers and spares grouped where I want them. Visually pleasing to see as well. As I'm laying everything out, I'm trying to make sure that the power inputs are facing towards where the cables are going to come out of the board, so that the cables aren't being pulled, stretched, or twisted and straining the ports. Now, as I'm planning where everything will go, I'm also keeping in mind where the power board is going to sit. For me, the access to power will be coming from the right-hand side of the board, so I want to make sure that the power strip is aligned with that. One of the factors that I'm considering in this process is how to make sure I can add and remove the chargers when I need to. Part of my business involves quite a bit of travel, so not having to cut zip ties every time I go on a trip will take the functionality of this board to a whole nother level. And that's why I'm going to use Velcro command strips. These are the best things I've found to make removing and reattach anything as seamless as possible. This process does involve also cutting a few holes. And the reason that I like this IKEA pegboard for this particular purpose is that I don't need a Dremel or metal cutting tools to actually make the holes. All I need is a simple file, or a drill in my case, to cut the holes to size. This makes managing the project so much easier and has given so much extra room for the cables to be able to fit through nice and snug so that they look good and there's not too much cable being exposed. So with all of the planning done and the holes drilled, it's a matter of getting everything attached. To keep this mounted to the wall, I bought a couple of strips of wood from Bunnings, my local hardware store, along with a few wood screws. This will keep the pegboard out from the wall, leaving plenty of room behind for cables, the power board, the bulky parts of some of the chargers. Now I'm also using these pieces of wood to create a solid mounting point to the wall with some more Velcro strips. I've actually used 3 sets on each side so it sticks on really well, while also making it renter friendly, which is an added bonus. I really don't want this thing coming off the walls, especially if it has all the batteries and everything charging on it. So with a little bit of easy DIY work done, I'll begin attaching everything. The SCADA's board comes with this metal mounting strip that generally attaches it to the wall. However, because I'm using the wood to do that, I've actually flipped the strip around and attached it to the front of the board, which makes a perfect attachment plate for my Rode Wireless Go microphones. I've also added a few USB-C cables that sit behind them, which makes it really easy to get them all charged. Now, after using a lot of Velcro strips, it's finally ready to hang. There are a couple of small accessories that I still need for this board, like another tray for the drone batteries to sit in, but I'll pick one of those up soon. With its first attachment to the wall, it looks great, with no holes in the wall required. So because of how this is stuck onto the wall, I can actually easily pull it back off and do the extra bits of cable management to get it all cleaned up. The small clear storage drawers are also really, really handy for all of those, those really tiny little parts and tools and all the kind of little bits and pieces that we seem to accumulate over time, as well as the hooks at the bottom, which are keeping cables that I regularly need to pack for photo shoots and production days. So I'm actually recording this video about a month after actually creating this board, and it has been incredibly functional and supportive for my entire workflow. The exercise of doing this and actually spending a little bit of time putting this together, a very small investment in making it happen, has been one of the most worthwhile upgrades I've actually done to the office, and a really great exercise to do. Now, the key to making the most of this is to actually use it. And the best way to get the most use from it is to incorporate it into your workflow and create a system for yourself to stick to, making sure that you've got all of your batteries charged. And that's actually exactly what I talk about in this video, plus so much more about how I actually run my workflow, that you'll enjoy it if you found value in this video.